I know who you are. I know what you are. And I know exactly what I've signed up for. I don't think you do. I'm gonna beat you at Wrestlemania. I'm gonna take that title. You know it. I know it. And if I can't, I'm gonna take a piece of you with me. And I believe that. And so should you.
Unlike him, I don't respect you.
But you will.
Hello. What's going on, everybody? It is Justin and Meelz, and we are live early in the morning on Pacific time. This is usually a lot earlier than we usually do this show.
It's lunchtime for me. It's lunchtime. It's a comfortable time for me. This is a very comfortable time.
But we are here on a special episode of the A Show, and we mentioned last week that we were going to put these two together, but this is just too monumental for us to make into one episode. So this is gonna be our retrospective episode on what we potentially think could be the main event, or will be the main event of WrestleMania 34. That is Brock Lesnar versus Roman Reigns, Part 2, a match that is 3 years in the making, and possibly, even in their first match, possibly longer than that. This is an important story, and I think it's one of the most, me and Meelz think this is one of the most poignant stories, and the most interesting stories in WrestleMania and WWE history. I think it'll really go down in history as one of the most interesting dichotomies of two characters as far as fan reaction and everything like that.
So I think why this is one of the most interesting stories is one of the reasons why is because it's in a rare class. Mm-hmm. This isn't a rare class of matches that potentially, we don't know the order yet of the card, but this could be potentially one of the very few matches in WrestleMania history that main events WrestleMania more than once. And we've seen it in the past. We've seen it with The Rock and Austin. We've seen it with The Rock and John Cena. But this is the first time we could have a double sort of repeat main event. And it's between Roman Reigns and Brock Lesnar. And they kind of follow under similar situations. They kind of follow, when we look back 3 years from this WrestleMania, it's kind of a similar situation where Roman Reigns is, at that time, he was seemingly the next big thing, and he was going against Brock Lesnar. Mm-hmm. Whose future in the WWE was somewhat questionable based on if he would resign or not resign to the company. And I think we'll talk about that and how that was sort of the buzz around the internet. Then is Roman Reigns just being coronated because Brock Lesnar is leaving? And it's kind of a similar thing this year because it's been 3 years. Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania 31 signed an extension for 3 years. It's been 3 years since then. We're having literally the same main event going forward with kind of this similar implications, but both two men are in completely different spaces than they were in WrestleMania 31.
Right. And to kind of celebrate that and just bring everybody up to speed on this, because we think this is just such an interesting story. We're going to be rewatching WrestleMania 31's main event, which is Roman Reigns and Brock Lesnar, and you guys can watch it with us. The timestamp, and we'll give you guys plenty of time as you listen to us banter for the first couple of minutes to get your timestamp ready. We are watching on the WWE Network, and our timestamp starts at 3:32:26. So the 3 hour mark, 32-minute mark. So get your WWE Network set there. We can all watch it together, and we'll be
on the WrestleMania 31 video.
Yeah, in the WrestleMania 31 video, so don't pull it up from
on Daily Motion. Don't pull it up on YouTube where some guys.
Well, they could.
They could, but you're not gonna. It's not gonna be official. It's not gonna be a show certified. You know,
right.
You're gonna be off at a different time. Then Michael Cole's voice is gonna be real, squeaky and everything because they have to do the video distortion so they don't get sued on YouTube or Daily Motion. So you know what? Make sure you're A show certified. Make sure you subscribe to the WWE Network, even though they don't pay us. And make sure you get that timestamp ready. What's the timestamp again?
It's 3:32:26. You will see as it stops, you'll see the camera sweeping the crowd. So you might be a couple seconds off. You might not get it correct, like super correct. But as long as you see the crowd, probably on our right, your right side, you'll see the crowd panning to Roman Reigns. He's about to come out. Mm-hmm. But before we actually start watching that. Brock Lesnar and Roman Reigns was an interesting build. If you go back a year to 2014 in New Orleans, ironically, this takes place in WrestleMania takes place in New Orleans this year. You had Brock Lesnar defeating The Undertaker and beating his streak at WrestleMania and starting a tear through pretty much the whole division. He would end up defeating John Cena for the WWE title at SummerSlam that year, and he would hold it all the way up to this point. And in a pretty interesting, it was the first time we had ever seen a part-time champion in WWE, and now it's like commonplace, it's normal. But how did you feel when we found out that Brock wasn't going to be on the show every single week?
I think at that time I got it, and I was kind of okay with it at that point. Well, you know what? Let me step back. I'm trying to step back 3 years ago where I was, how I was. I got it from a business standpoint because I think I can see how it would work and everything but I always wondered how would that fare for the actual shows and what would that be the main event. As someone who's watched WWE probably faithfully for the last 25 years or so, the championship has always been one of the centerpieces of every pay-per-view. Every pay-per-view moving forward was a fatal 5-way match, a six-pack challenge, a one-on-one, everything. Every pay-per-view, there is at least one world championship match because the world championship in the WWE means absolutely everything. So to not see it on the card, on following pay-per-views, following that SummerSlam, it was crazy. I think in terms of, and I want to run back to WrestleMania 30 for a sense. WrestleMania 30, at that point, Brock Lesnar had been in WWE for, I think, at least 2 years at that point.
Yeah, it was 2 years.
But it felt like at that time that they hadn't been using him to like peak Brock Lesnar, peak Brock Lesnar. He came back the day after WrestleMania 28. He started his tear. WrestleMania 29, he had that match against Triple H that I don't think anybody really remembers. Just because it kind of was like the standard Triple H program. But at WrestleMania 30, when they decided to really give him the keys and have him be the 1 in 21, have him be the guy who defeats The Undertaker, have this be a sort of major storyline, and not even just a major storyline, a major part of his entire career. Beyond holding 6 WWE World Championships, beyond winning a Royal Rumble, beyond winning King of the Ring, I think Brock Lesnar will be known and go down as the guy who ended the streak of The Undertaker at WrestleMania. And it's probably the biggest thing that you can give any guy in the company, at least in 2014 at that point. So when that happened, it was pure shock on everybody. Everybody was shocked. Everybody couldn't believe it. And it kind of just rejuvenated what Brock Lesnar was, and it kind of reinvented what Brock Lesnar was. We knew he was a beast, we knew he was a monster, but he really went on a tear, and that complete year after that was probably really the best year of his career.
Yeah. And on the other side of the coin, you had Roman Reigns, who had been being groomed since 2012, in fact, to be the next face of the WWE. And there was a huge, bout of fan support for him. So if you look at his 2014, that is the year when at WrestleMania 30, same event, he was still in the Shield, and they were going against the New Age Outlaws. and Kane. So
Kane, listen,
yeah.
Kane is omnipresent amongst WWE history. He's going to be there everywhere.
Absolutely. And then
it's a rite of passage.
And then in 2014, they had some excellent matches against Evolution, and then you finally had your first glimpse of Roman versus the Authority, which would go on for years, and it has been going on for years. And he ended up having a very lengthy feud with Seth Rollins in the summer of 2014 as Brock Lesnar was rising. But you started to see, and this is interesting to even think about now, he was a more sympathetic character then. His friend had just turned on him. He was betrayed. He was out on his own for the first time, and he was having to face everything on his own. And the feuds that he had there were super minor, but they were built to put him in the main event picture. Stuff against like the Big Show, who he suffered his first pinfall loss against, ironically, if anyone can even remember that. But he was kind of sidelined also that fall with the hernia injury, which like Roman always has these weird injuries at the weird times of the year. And it happened when he was supposed to face Seth Rollins.
Yeah,
he ended up not facing him at Night of Champions that year,
which kind of plays into the story when we watch this WrestleMania 31 thing.
Yeah,
but this Roman Reigns story, just heading through the summer and heading through the fall, just sort of the rise of it. I mean, even slightly before WrestleMania 30, we saw him be the last two in the Royal Rumble. He was face to face with Batista, nose to nose, eliminated 13, I believe it was 13 occupants from the Royal Rumble. He headed to WrestleMania 30. He did his thing there and just. He was really on a tear. It really became the next big thing. But once that threshold happened where he definitely broke from the Shield, it became to rejuvenate and sort of reinvent his career moving forward.
Right. And I guess there's no time but the present to talk about this. But the Royal Rumble, 2015 Royal Rumble, very, very interesting show that was marked by an awful ending and a great Brock Lesnar match.
Yeah, it was kind of a tale of two different stories, right? Because Brock Lesnar just, I don't think anybody expected the type of match that they would have, just because we've seen the Brock Lesnar John Cena story. They've added Seth Rollins in. While all three are great, competitors, I don't think anybody expected the caliber of match that we got from all three of them, becoming probably one of the best triple threat matches that I've seen ever.
Absolutely.
But it was kind of the tale of two stories, because when you look now, on the other side of the coin with Roman Reigns and how his Royal Rumble 2015, it's not as sweet, and he kind of goes into one of possibly the worst Royal Rumbles of all time, at least how I remember it.
Yes, this is a Royal Rumble where you're also neck and neck with Daniel Bryan returning from his injury, and everyone wanted it to be Bryan that year. Literally every single, and again, there's parallels between this year as well, where Bryan is returning again.
Yeah.
and
I'm sure everyone would love it to be Bryan versus Brock Lesnar at this point.
Absolutely. And Roman Reigns ends up basically coming in at entry 19, and you start to see the inevitability of everything that starts to happen with the Final Four in the match, where it's like, I think the Final Four was that was the one where Rusev comes out and he was in the bottom of the under the ring or something like that.
Yeah, it ended up being a weird. I think it ended up being like Dean Ambrose, Roman Reigns versus Kane and Big Show as like the Final Four before anyone realized that Rusev was still there.
Yeah.
But I think one of the most notable things was I think the crowd completely turned on it, because even before halfway through the Royal Rumble, Daniel Bryan, who was entered at this point, was eliminated. So
by Bray Wyatt.
By Bray Wyatt. So at this point, no one wants to see what happens next, because their favorite that they wanted to win, you have Daniel Bryan, who had not, lost the actual world championship, who had to necessarily give it up because of injury, had to come back and sort of edge his way back in, at the same time that we see the company 100% getting behind Roman Reigns. They're pretty much laying out the carpet for Roman Reigns with like feuds with like Seth Rollins and Randy Orton and everything. They're trying to build him up, and it's kind of like a definite clash between those two stories.
And I mean, I won't say that quality wise, and I watched it earlier this week, this wasn't a awful Rumble, but But there's a sense of just not being a satisfying one, and I think that's what really kills it for everybody. Like even
it's kind of putting your nose in it and making you eat it, kind of.
Yeah, it's like it's not even subtle, even down to The Rock.
The Rock, the biggest cosign ever. Can we talk about that for a second?
Yes. The Rock comes out after Roman wins the match, and he is clearly absolutely confused as to what is going on. This is, and even to this day, we've never seen something like this ever, where a undisputedly like loved and beloved fan favorite is vociferously booed by everyone in the arena. He's holding up Roman's hand. Roman has this shit-eating grin. It's an epic, like this, like living in this moment, Meelz, and I think anyone who's listening to this, you remember that moment. Like that 100%. Was one of, it was a low moment. And I talked about this earlier, I think this week on Twitter. I was like, we had to go through a lot of shit to get to where we are right now.
100%.
And this is included.
Like, I think because everyone saw the writing on the wall so just very, very clearly. And it wasn't even just the writing on the wall, but like I said, just like, you're going to eat this. We're sticking your face in it. We're sticking your nose in it. And you're going to manage to stomach this, what we're doing, because we're building Roman Reigns. Roman Reigns is our guy that we're taking. Last year, we gave you guys the key and we gave you guys Daniel Bryan, and we're doing this, but we're not doing this again. So the Rock comes out. It's insane. It's all over, all the news cycles the following day of just people shitting. I don't think we've had an ending to a pay-per-view where people were just so, intensely dissatisfied with the product.
Yeah, there were huge chants for Rusev, huge CM Punk chants, huge, and this is in Philly, by the way.
Yes.
There are huge bullshit chants there, and I think more than anything, and he's still never been able to, there are a few things that Roman has never been able to recover from. Mm-hmm. This Royal Rumble I'd put in the top 3, maybe number 1. I'd put CM Punk shitting on him on that podcast is like maybe number 2, number 3. And I think that third, the third is like the other Royal Rumble. What year was it? There was it the one next
2016? Year, right? It was 2016. Yeah. Well, no, it was 2017. I think it was 2017.
It was 17. It was 17.
Triple H.
Triple H was 16. Triple H was 16.
Okay, so
it was the build to the Triple H match that killed them.
Okay. It was yeah. It essentially was that. Yes, it was Triple H pretty handedly, demolishing Roman Reigns and him not being seen on television for weeks following that.
Because of those weird injuries that he gets. And then this also started the cancel WWE Network trend, which was insanity. Like I don't think we've ever seen a backlash like this, but Vince and the WWE, they held strong and they knew what their main event was, and they knew where they wanted to go. And
this is weird because we've lived through the Cena era. Like we've lived through people hating the absolute guy. We've lived through just from 2005 through probably 2011. We lived through that era of John Cena where people 100% hated John Cena. They did not want to see him as champion. Mm-hmm. They booed him. I mean, now it's regular for people to boo him in his entrance, but you kind of see it as a sign of respect now. But we lived through that era. But I'd say this Roman Reigns thing, just being at the point of career that Roman Reigns was, where he was just really, he started wrestling probably a couple of years back, and he was really starting to get into the main event thing. To get that amount of backlash has to sort of not only just bruise your ego, but it just has to like hurt, just genuinely. Mm-hmm. I remember the post-match promo with him and The Rock, and he's just like, he's there, but he's not fully there. And all he could do at that point was just react. And react in a way that was not probably would earn him any more fans.
Absolutely. And that actually led to and the build to this WrestleMania it's so strange because even when you like the night after, there was a huge blizzard, a huge snowstorm that kept people on the East Coast in their houses for days, and some people like weeks. And it actually ended up being the first Raw ever that was preempted because of that act of God, and they actually had to go to Stamford, Connecticut, and do the episode there just in the complete snow. I'll never forget JBL being outside in that shit. I watched the episode a couple of days ago, and I was like, it's a really great episode of Raw. Also, it's a lot of interviews and a lot of throwbacks to Royal Rumble, but it's also the WWE kind of being vulnerable and taking the bad and making good out of it. You got an awesome Paul Heyman promo out of this episode, and an even better. And I still say, even though he's beat it this year with his promos against Brock, one of the best Roman Reigns promos ever as well.
I'd say so. I mean, I want to try to play a little bit of audio from it if you guys will, but it's just one of these moments that you just can't forget. I'm going to try to play it right now. Let's see. Let me put my producer hat on.
Oh wow! Okay, here we go.
Everything about your family is like a bird to air. It's like a fish to water. That it's in a Samoan's blood to go into the ring. I've known you since you were a little boy in Pensacola when your dad was wrestling in the arenas down there. And I'm awfully proud of you for what you accomplished last night. I respect it greatly. I also know Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. But more importantly, The Rock knows Brock Lesnar. And here's a part of your family history that is not told down to the next generation, because in 2002, The Rock ruled the roost around here. The Rock, just like Brock is now, was the reigning, defending, undisputed WWE heavyweight champion of the world, laying the smackdown all across the globe. The one, the top guy. And everybody's fantasy was that was going to last forever. Until that fantasy ran up against the reality in a new guy, like you're the new guy, the next big thing, like I think you're the next big thing, in a rookie by the name of Brock Lesnar. And when that rookie Brock Lesnar got his hands on The Rock, Brock Lesnar took at will the WWE World Heavyweight Championship away from The Rock. Now, surely you remember their epic rematch on pay-per-view. You don't. You can't. Because The Rock never asked for a rematch with Brock Lesnar.
I'll end it there.
Crazy.
But pretty strong stuff.
Yeah.
There's a strong retort by Roman Reigns that follows. You guys can all look at it. It's a January 26, 2015 Raw, but it ended up being one of the most viewed Raws of all time. It averaged about 4.42 million people for a Raw that had no in-ring matches, that were pretty much a Raw that featured Royal Rumble. The replay of the Royal Rumble match featured interviews with Daniel Bryan and Seth Rollins and Paul Heyman and Brock Lesnar and Roman Reigns. Just featured that. It was one of the most viewed Raws probably in recent history. And everyone in the world saw the palpable intensity between Roman Reigns and Brock Lesnar, and pretty much that these two are on a collision course. Yeah, and even in the build-up to... But here's the thing. Like, they followed that build-up up with just a completely, like, strange, even stranger build to this match, where it's like they're having like tug of wars with the belt, and they're barely even like they don't touch at all. It's like they saved all of the physicality, which is a complete and I love how they do it now, because obviously they're familiar with each other, but they saved a lot of the physicality for the actual match. And we go all the way to Levi Stadium on March 29th, 2015. So we are a day removed from the third anniversary of this show of WrestleMania 31, and huge WrestleMania. It actually, WWE reported that it's the highest grossing WWE event ever, which drew a revenue of $12.6 million with 76,976 people attending the show.
WrestleMania 31. And again, I think it's one of my favorite WrestleManias ever, to be honest.
I want to point out just in the fact, just the atmosphere days beforehand between Roman and Brock. We had that tug of war. We had, just before that tug of war, there was a very, very strong Paul Heyman promo where it says Brock Lesnar Brock Lesnar is a beast. Brock Lesnar will go into your family's house, kick down your door, take your wife, and name your kids Lesnar. So it was very, very strong. And then they had that tug of war. A few days later, it was announced on ESPN. This would begin sort of the real relationship between ESPN and WWE, that Brock Lesnar had re-signed to a new 3-year contract. So just days before this WrestleMania match, when everyone thought, it's Brock Lesnar's out the door, he's back to UFC, he's going to do that thing. And by all intents, he was. WWE gave him an offer that he simply could not turn down. Or maybe he chose not to turn down just for long-term sake, and he re-signed to the company. So that kind of changes the narrative, and it changes sort of the feeling about the match, because do we take the title off Brock Lesnar now? Do we still go on with the coronation of Roman Reigns, what we've been building to for the last year or so? So it's a very, very strong atmosphere leading into this match.
Yep, and we're gonna get into the match in just a couple seconds. So if you guys are already ready, turn your timestamps to, again, 3:32:26. We're going to be watching Roman Reigns versus Brock Lesnar. Meelz, are you ready?
On 3 or after 3?
After 3.
Okay.
No, I'm going to count down. Count down. That's all
right. After 1 or on 1?
After 1. After 1.
Okay.
So 3, 2, 1, go.
All right. All right. I'm locked in. I'm here. You guys may not be able to hear this. I wasn't able to loop this in because this computer is very, very old. But we see Roman Reigns here, and he looks incredible. This is at AT&T Stadium.
Yeah,
AT&T Stadium, sold out, thousands of fans. He's still approaching. He's still going through the crowd, which is something that he does not do now. He looks very bothered.
Yeah, I think interesting. One thing that stands out to me: Roman's fucking eyes. Okay. Is he wearing contacts?
I don't know. All right, so I don't know. To me, I have to look in his eyes on Monday now, because I could swear, and I've gone through this before because I've definitely watched his past matches before where I noticed these very, very prominent gray eyes, but I think he legit has those eyes.
Dude, they're like brighter. Like, I don't even notice how bright his eyes are anymore. But when I watch this, it's glaring how bright his eyes are.
It's probably contacts. Vince was like, "Yeah, damn it, come on, we need the eyes."
It's insane. Like, look at it. Like, when he's walking up right there, he looks like a ghost.
You know what? Walker. I appreciate the stoic sort of. I appreciate the security walking past him. I appreciate all that. It makes it look completely cool.
Yeah. And now, if you think about the show, these fans have seen Ronda Rousey already. They've seen The Undertaker come back right before this. They've seen Sting get extinguished. So
yeah, well, all right.
They have seen one of the
Undertaker return. Undertaker return.
Yeah, again. So he's returning again.
He's returning, just like, listen, right?
Parallels.
Right.
Parallels.
Roman Reigns beat the streak. Undertaker returns again for some match against some goober. Like, we here.
Yeah, there we go. Look at the fireworks show. I don't mind that we don't have pyro anymore if it's saved for really cool shit like this during the year.
This is big money pyro, baby.
Yeah, I'm cool with that.
They got the 360 camera.
Actually, Meelz, this is the first time we've ever watched a wrestling match together.
Yes, this is true. This is true.
It's kind of crazy.
I literally shut my mouth during every match.
Well, you don't have to talk. I'm definitely going to talk throughout.
No, I'm definitely talking. Oh, are you kidding me? We're Cole and Michael Cole and JBL over here. Come on. I could have picked two better announced teams.
Yeah, we definitely.
JR and Steve Corino. What are we doing?
We're gonna have definitely way better announced team this year at WrestleMania. Those are contacts Meelz. I'm sorry, bro. Listen to that pop for Lesnar. Oh my god.
Everyone loves Brock Lesnar at this point because Brock Lesnar is an ass-kicking machine. Oh my god. Just a really, stage.
Really good camera work. I mean, just compare this to Strong Style Evolved.
Oh my god. I wish I could play this in the background so I could have some audio looped in, but I can't.
Okay, look at Brock. He's in tremendous shape here.
He's in amazing shape. This is a stark contrast from where he is now, which is like he's super senioritis. He doesn't give a shit anymore. He's about to leave.
Yeah.
He's wrestling Kane on house shows and The Miz and everything. He's not working out. He might do a few stretches before the match, but he's not going to actually give a shit about it.
How about Levi's Stadium, man? Well, that's a great setup for a stadium, man.
This is nice.
Oh, we also missed Triple H's Terminator entrance
in the sun.
Yeah,
in the bright, unforgiving sun.
Yeah, the heavy shot at WCW that he was a Terminator and he terminated every single thing about WCW in 2015.
You don't want us to go through that match of Triple H instead.
Oh, I would love to. I would love to go through that match. It all comes down to this. Roman Reigns, like we said earlier, had a great fucking year.
Reigns had a great. I mean, this was still a building year for him. He still wasn't the best on the mic. Neither is Brock at this point. He still wasn't as comfortable. I think he was comfortable in the ring, but he's not as comfortable as he is now. That he can just pull out these great matches out of pretty much anybody at this point.
Yeah,
but he's solid. He's earned, I think, at this point, this place in the WWE.
Whereas people didn't think he earned it there. Honestly, it was just so weird after the Shield broke up, just how everything played out. Like Seth Rollins was catapulted to top guy immediately.
Yeah.
And Roman was in the upper mid card. Like it was just a weird reversal of fortune. And they do the same thing with Roman literally in 2016, 2017 when he got when he got popped for the wellness. Here we go.
We got Lillian Garcia making noise. Roman Reigns' entire family is in this crowd.
Yes, and we'll talk about their reaction to this match after.
They are not happy. Kayfabe and in real life.
Uh-oh. Love this. Love this.
Get out the ring, Lillian.
I got this. Paul Heyman, I will also say, just as important to this match and Brock Lesnar in general as anyone. I think that goes without saying.
Well, I think over the month, I mean, Brock Lesnar didn't make as much appearances that he made this year, but Roman Reigns and Paul Heyman really carried this feud on the mic. And when I say they really carried the feud, I mean Paul Heyman really carried Roman Reigns through this entire thing with the barbs and everything like that. I just remember though that Roman Reigns' mantra was, "I can, I will, I believe that." And I was just like, oh, come on. All right. Roman Obama. Come on. All right.
I really think these entrances are actually longer than the actual match.
It rivals it.
This match is literally in the last 20 minutes of the show. I remember watching this and thinking, are they going to go over?
Listen. This is a fight, man. This is ugly. This isn't good.
Look at this.
They're literally hitting each other. He throws him into the turnbuckle. It's real.
They're fighting for real.
They're fucking hitting each other.
I wonder what the conversation. Brock's already bleeding, by the way. I wonder what the conversation was about here, where it's like, just lay it in, brother. Oh,
F5 off rip. Brock Lesnar
loves this.
You see under his eye, he's already, he looks like he's a UFC fighter, former UFC champion. He already got his eye busted open. So imagine how that makes him feel at this point. He's like, oh, we're laying shit in now? Okay. All right.
Brock is so good here, man. Even the facials he has when he does the blood, like the blood shit, he didn't expect that. Like that's literally something he just on the fly. Like that shows you just how good he is.
He's going back to it so many times. He's like, "Word, we doing this?"
I wonder if in the match next week, if he will try the F5 first and then try to go for a pin, knowing that Roman didn't go down for it the first time 3 years ago. Oh shit.
Listen, this is a suplex we haven't seen from Brock Lesnar in years, man. And Brock Lesnar has had these differently paced matches over the last 3 years.
I mean, all of his matches were like this other than the three-way. They were just literally him suplexing motherfuckers. Those are real elbows here.
These are real elbows.
Real punch. Real punch. Oh, God. Lesnar's big boy in this dude.
He's doing this, man.
You want to talk about fucking Ishii and Makabe matches? This is the WWE equivalent right here.
Listen, man. That shiner under his eye, man.
Pissed him off. It's like in No Mercy when you bleed and you have that character that can't look at his own blood. This is what I want to talk about. I hate this shit.
He's smiling.
The smirk. I hate that shit.
It's not a good smirk. That's why I hate it. It's not a good smirk.
It destroys all belief. Like I'm so glad he stopped doing that.
A high angle suplex. My God.
Suplex City, bitch.
Listen, this is where it all started. No, it didn't. It started a couple.
It did.
I thought it started at the Cena match.
No, it started here.
Suplex City, bitch.
Yeah, it started here.
It would be on every shirt with Brock Lesnar's name on it moving forward.
Look at this. Just fucking with him. I love that he didn't take him seriously at all.
Ooh. They're going for it, man. This is what I love about this match overall. They're literally going for it. They're going for it. They're hitting each other very, very hard. It's possibly the stiffest main event I've seen in WrestleMania history. Like, this is a year after the whole Daniel Bryan story, and it was more into the story, and it was more into capturing that, and this is just brutal.
Yeah. I'd say 2 years in a row for Mania having two really good main events. I think in the past 2-3 years, it hasn't really been like this.
Yeah.
Because next year you'd have
Triple H versus
and Roman.
Triple H and Roman. Then we'd have Roman and Undertaker.
Yeah.
Listen, this is what the 5-peat potentially 4-peat.
Yeah, I really still think it's AJ Nakamura. I really think it is. You don't want to risk that. I just think you just don't want to risk it. You don't want to risk a really bad reaction and sending the fans home unhappy if Roman wins this match.
We'll give him New Day. This entire match, man. I love it.
Roman has got what offense in this match? 0?
Very little, but he gets some big shots in. Trust me.
Wow, very suggestive angle there. Go ahead.
All right, you're immature. Thanks a lot, guy. Way to be mature. This is professional wrestling, man. His knees, man. He's good that he's blocking him.
Great. You know what? In the same way that I love this, I love the Goldberg Lesnar match for being a sprint, just a complete sprint.
Mm-hmm.
Look at this shit. Look at this bump he's about to take.
He doesn't give a shit about him. That's what you can just see that from Lesnar's face. Like he gives no shit.
Look at that. Oh my
God, that knee. I know he felt that. Like his ribs, I can tell he felt that. His body just jolted after that knee. They showed a slow motion of the knees to the ribs again, and he's just, man.
Pure pain.
Knee. Listen, he's returning them knees. He's like, where are we doing this? We're doing this?
Listen, that knee was so crazy. Like, Brock fucked Braun Strowman up for shit like that. You start to hear the crowd kind of.
Here we go. Oh my God.
Oh my God.
Oh my God. That clothesline. So he caught his leg and he hit him with a clothesline from the apron to the bottom. And man, this is brutal. I love it, man. Fuck.
Look at this shit. He fucked Braun. Like, Braun gave him a knee like that late last year.
And Brock was like, who the fuck that?
Yeah, Brock fucked him up for that.
Listen,
Brock is bleeding.
He is the only one bleeding in this match, which is surprising.
This is a fight, and I think I love it for that. It's just being just fucking brutal.
Roman is checking his teeth. He's listen, you wouldn't be able to tell after this match of who, was getting brutalized more.
Yeah.
But man.
Actually, you wouldn't even be able to tell at the end of this match who's going to win. So.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, that's definitely true.
JBL's great here also. I think he carries this match.
100%. The man loves an ass kicking. He's able to call it very, very well. It's very paced, I think it also helps that this match is very paced too. Just how paced this match is, I think it's very conducive to the way they're announcing this match because they're not having to fit in a whole bunch of things. It's not, high energy. It's just kind of a move and then, recover.
You see the reaction. I think Roman in these contacts looks silly. Like, I swear these are contacts.
These contacts? You think him and Ember Moon go to the same guy?
For their jeans and their contacts. Oh shit! Oh shit! Like, Brock just doesn't do this anymore, man.
Nah, man. No front suplexes, but he had a reason to care. I think probably the last match he truly cared about was that one against AJ Styles. Yeah. And that might have been the only one he cared about in the last 3 years.
And I think he cared because he respects AJ, and you could really tell in that match. He gave him a lot. He gave AJ a lot more than he gives anybody.
Cut him up. F5 again. I'm glad he didn't counter it at this point because it wouldn't have made sense. But he does kick out of that second F5. And Brock is like, word? Okay. All right. I see the kid's got a little fight in him.
Listen, and no one's kicking. Well, I think Roman's going to kick out the F5. And I think they protected the F5 for the past year very well. But I think he's kicking out of that shit.
Oh, yeah.
He's taking the gloves off.
He's taking the gloves off, man. Listen, this is great work by Brock Lesnar. Great sports entertainment work. Just knowing your role and handling it correctly. Because he's taking off the gloves. He's like, okay, I'm going to have to barehandedly beat this man senseless.
Also love that it plays parallels into the Cena match where it's like they're clearly building Roman to be stronger than that. Like, younger, stronger, can take more punishment. Look at that slap.
A bitch slap. Let's wake up.
He's getting his New Japan on right now, boy. Look at this replay.
Yo. Shout out to Slapfest Hot 97. If you don't remember that.
Like, see, this is good. I like Roman's defiant stuff, but he's gonna do that fucking smirk and that laugh. Look at the laugh. I don't understand this. Is he supposed to be crazy? Like I don't get it.
I don't know. It never really works. Brock is like, nah, fuck that. Low angle German suplex. Rock you for a second.
Now we know what's coming in about a minute and a half here. So if this match ends like this, what do you think of Roman after that?
I think WWE wants to go with Brock Lesnar more than Roman Reigns if it ends at this point. Shit. You got the third F5.
Third F5. This is what killed The Undertaker.
This is what killed The Undertaker.
And he kicks out of that.
And Roman Reigns kicks out. Take that, Mark Calloway.
So when I'm watching this live, I remember watching this live, and I'm like, what is going to... Are they really going to do this tonight? Like, I was like, are they really going to do this tonight?
Oh, my God. Listen, 3 F5s, and, you know, after 3 F5s, like, what do you do? A fourth? Like, what do you even... what's the point that you stop trying?
You shoot him. And honestly, this 3 F5 stuff, you hear the crowd turning here. This 3 F5 stuff, it killed Roman even more. Like, the crowd just doesn't believe... They did not believe him as a underdog at all, and they still don't. The crowd is turning on him even more with him kicking out of these F5s.
Roman Reigns, it looks like he's about to get thrown into that ring post. Nope, he reverses it. Brock Lesnar goes headfirst into the ring post.
Yep, hard way.
Needs more.
He was doing everything in his power to get these matches over back in the day, and I wonder at what point where he just said fuck it, but he did not have to take the spot to the post. Like, that's concussion worthy right here.
I think he knew that they couldn't blade, and it was just like, we're doing things hard way. He's putting over this match, man. He's
insane. He did a lot for Roman here. I know that it didn't really work with the rest of how 2015 panned out, but he did a lot for him here. I'd say that after this, after this match, and we'll talk about it at the end, like, both of these guys kind of like had some really whatever 2015.
Oh yeah.
Definitely not as good as their year before.
No,
Brock is fucking bleeding a geyser here. This is
they're both trying to stand up again. Roman Reigns sees his opening. It looks like he's trying to line him up for the spear or something along those lines. Boom, Superman punch.
Brock doesn't know where he is right now.
This is where Michael Cole gets in his element, and it's just like, all right, now it's time to get excited. This is the true mark of a professional.
Boom. Oh, Brock's selling, man.
Brock is selling. Oh, my God. It's selling. Listen, he twisted. He turned. He tried to catch himself. He couldn't. He picked himself back on one knee. One of the best in the game at selling. Brock Lesnar. Third one. Nope. German hard elbows to the side of the head. He's already got cauliflower.
He already has CTE, and now you're headbutting.
Superman punch, the third one. That one hit.
Excellent Superman punch there.
That one hit. So he's going for the spear now. He sees his opening. He tries to go for it, and he lands it.
But he's too hurt to pin.
But he's going back to the well. He knows that's not going to keep him down. Brock is stammering. He doesn't know what's going on. He's in a stupor. The second spear.
Kick out. Insanity. This is where they got him. This is the fall that got him. And this
is what I love about Roman Reigns matches. It's just the pacing and the timing. The man has impeccable timing when it comes to building and then knowing that exact moment when to get everybody back in the match. And this is a perfect explanation. I don't think the Superman punch changes the tide of a match any more than any other move that I've seen in WWE history. They're saying it's Roman Reigns' time. They're already coronating him before it's even over. Shout out to Michael Cole.
Yeah, great call here.
Goes for the Superman punch. Literally.
Last one. Let's go.
The fourth F5. Neither man can get back to their feet at this point. Lesnar's just taken 2 spears. This is the 4th F5 for Roman Reigns.
There you
and
go.
Here comes
Seth Rollins.
The mad sprint.
Look at this run.
The mad sprint.
He had to run a whole football field.
Listen, briefcase in hand, slid in.
This is the physical representation of plans change, and I think more 100%. Than anything, this is I can't even call it anything more than this is literally plans change.
They're announcing that Seth Rollins is cashing in Money in the Bank.
Really great 2 years for Seth Rollins also.
It's now a triple threat, yeah.
From the moment that he love how they changed the rules of this.
Oh yeah. It doesn't end the first match. Now it adds to the match.
Yeah, I love it.
Seth Rollins curb stomp.
More CTE for Brock.
On Brock Lesnar. He knew what he was doing. He kicked Roman Reigns out of the ring and he said, I'm going to beat the champion. I need to beat Brock Lesnar. This is my WrestleMania moment.
Also, great callback to the Royal Rumble match.
Going for the F5 hard spear. Spear.
God,
that spear was literally a thrust in the stomach, a javelin.
There you go.
The curb stomp.
Right in the middle. 1, 2, 3. Seth Rollins wins the main event of WrestleMania. literally
the main event of WrestleMania. I know he's out for possibly the next year. He wants to have his moment again, but what can you say about a moment where you cash in Money in the Bank? Only person to cash in, as JBL saying right now, only person to cash it in, and he wins the WWE Championship in the main event of WrestleMania.
Of the century. Great call by Cole there, calling it the heist of the century.
The heist of the century. How are you feeling at this point?
I'm marking out. I was at my friend Rodney's house and I was like, me and him were literally like, we could not believe what had just happened.
I couldn't believe it.
Look how Seth literally falls off of Brock's shoulders.
That was a hard spear. That was one of those spears where it takes everything out of you. It's literally the last gasp.
Swing the belt, brother. I know Sika is going right to the backstage area right now to go talk to Vince.
Listen. We got to talk about that. You want to fade out here?
Yeah, let's get to the fireworks before we talk about the aftermath. I still get chills from this.
Listen,
from this moment, man, and this moment for Sam, who a lot of people didn't see as the guy. Everyone thought it was Dean Ambrose.
Everyone thought it was Dean Ambrose, everyone thought it was Dean Ambrose in the beginning. They obviously switched plans to Roman Reigns, but no one ever thought it was Seth Rollins.
Yeah.
But here we are. There's major pyro. He stole all their pyro. The pyro's salt in the wounds.
That was Brock's pyro.
Yeah. This is Brock. It's like, this should be my pyro. I should be the one sweaty, smirking, shit-faced grin.
Amazing.
Beautiful. Remember when the pyro almost killed people at WrestleMania 24?
I was there.
Really?
Yes, I was in the stands. I saw it. I was there. Mm-hmm.
Oh, my God.
Yep. I was right there. I was like, that's not part of the show, is it? I saw Ric Flair get retired that night, man. That shit was really emotional. But yes, we get the title card there, and WrestleMania 31 is in the books, and you have Seth Rollins as the winner in a very odd, very chaotic, very hectic final 2 minutes of that match. How crazy was that, man?
It's so insane. I can't believe it. Do you think this was the best move? So I think it was the best move in a standpoint where they realized that possibly Roman Reigns, especially after the Royal Rumble, maybe it was not time for Roman Reigns yet. And we see they thought that because they went to the well multiple years in a row and essentially tried to recreate this moment so many times. Even one more time. We're going to talk about it this year. Yeah. But at this moment, I feel like Seth Rollins is the only palpable character that people give a genuine reaction to out of these two guys.
Right.
If I had to choose one of them, I probably would have chosen. I think they wanted to get the title off of Brock because they wanted to just switch things up a bit, and they knew it would always get back to Brock at some point.
Yeah, and they also knew, and I think it made sense for Brock in a difference between Brock and Roman. Since Brock re-signed, they knew they could continue a storyline, or they can continue many storylines with Brock there,
right,
and have him chase the belt. And with Roman, it was a lot different because it wasn't to continue the storyline. It was, okay, we got to go back to the drawing board with this because it wasn't working. Even to the days leading to it, it wasn't going. People weren't feeling it. You can even see it in there, and that's why I say, like, in 2018, do they really want to take the risk on having the same shit happen?
So I think just with all of the stock that has been built with Roman Reigns over the last 3 years, I mean, when we talk about the remainder of the 2015 for Roman Reigns, it was essentially a hard reset for Roman Reigns. Just the pay-per-view after he's going against Big Show, and I think in the Extreme Rules pay-per-view or Backlash or whatever the hell it was, but just to 2015, they essentially said, okay, we're taking a step back and we've got to build this guy over again. And we've got to find a way to get people invested in Roman Reigns again. In 2018, I say you have a guy that's already established. You have a guy that people generally know gives great matches and is a locker room leader and respects that from that side. I don't fully think you get the same result of that match, especially when we know 100% that Brock Lesnar is leaving this match. And I think that's the kind of story they've been trying to paint.
We don't know that yet. We don't know.
I mean, yes, we don't know. We don't know. But there's a possibility, a strong possibility that he may not return after this match. Right. And I think that's the story they've been trying to paint. I think they've taken the photo with Dana White and Brock Lesnar, and they've sort of spun it off into its own sort of work shoot real life storyline where now Roman Reigns, no longer the next big thing, is the big thing. Is the guy who's representing WWE. He's the guy who's representing the WWE universe. And Brock Lesnar is the guy who we've all know they're 100% taking advantage of all the dirt sheets and all the other things. Brock Lesnar is the guy who just shows up and does business and gets to work. He's not someone who, is around to have amazing matches. He's not there tearing the house down every night. He's literally just one of the faces. He's a draw. They know what his role is. So they're trying to build that sort of opposition where
But does Roman as the underdog, as he was in 2015, does that work in 2018? I think that's what takes people out of it.
But I don't think he's the underdog.
They're positioning him as that. They're saying, I come to work all the time. I'm the everyman. I'm like, you're not really the everyman. I don't think that's an underdog.
I think he just represents the opposite of what Brock Lesnar represents. I think he represents someone who works hard.
That's my thing. It's not believable.
Yeah. I mean, I could see that, but I don't think Roman Reigns goes in as the underdog. These are literally the two men who have beaten Undertaker at WrestleMania. Both of these men are the ones in 23 or something. But they're literally the two guys who have made history. It's their yard. They're on the same sort of even keel level. They're both former world championships. They're both former Royal Rumble winners. They have a lot more similarities than they do that we see to the sort of naked eye. But the difference is that Roman Reigns is the guy, and Brock Lesnar never wanted to be the guy. And I think that's the tale of two different stories. That Brock Lesnar is literally wants the championship. He wants bodies. He loves the physicality. He's not here for the sports entertainment or to kiss babies or do press or do anything like that. He is simply here to do what he does. That's his job and get in, get out. Whereas Roman Reigns is the guy who's passionate about it and all this other things. And he's built himself to the place that he is right now.
Yeah. And I just think that just the difference between the build, and I'll say that this year's build is better. I think there was a lot of extenuating circumstances and weird shit that happened in 2015 that just kind of made it a really organic build. But I think WWE is aware of what's going on this year, and they're aware of what people think, and they're aware of all the criticism, I think. And I think that leaves them that puts them ahead of everything because they see that. And I don't know. I think at the time, looking back, Seth was the right decision. And shooting him up to main guy status and top guy status was something that they needed to do.
You make a third guy at least. I mean, you've done that
because he had a undoubtedly better year than any of them. You had him against Cena at SummerSlam. You had him against Ambrose for most of the summertime. But I mentioned this earlier when we were watching the match. Roman and Brock had some very like uneventful feuds afterwards. You had Roman against the Big Show at one point, and then after the Big Show, you had Roman in a 6-month almost feud with Bray fucking Wyatt.
Oh my God, that kind of just killed it, kind of, threw the sales out of everything. And it just kind of felt like a holding pattern until the next big Roman Reigns moment. But it lasted so long and no one was interested. And it did no favors.
And then you had Brock, who, of course, was on a limited schedule, and a more limited schedule in 2015 than he had in 2018. I think he showed up way more in 2018 than he did in 2015. Mm-hmm. But he continued his feud with The Undertaker, which led to a match at SummerSlam and a final match at Hell in a Cell, which I thought was a pretty good match.
Both were kind of jarring finishes as well, that I think people who may not give the credit for the match that they should because of how the circumstances went. You look at that SummerSlam match, I was there. It was kind of questionable what happened. One tapped out, one got pinned. It was kind of a dusty finish, and then they showed that apparently Undertaker won or something along those lines. And then you had the Hell in a Cell match kind of decided by a low blow, which is another jarring sort of finish with the two brutal guys that you got there. But it's their careers after that match, it didn't really have sort of the spark, the upturn that we all expected.
It took a while. It took a while for Brock, at least, to get back to where he was.
Right.
I don't think he really got there because, the next real big feud he had was they tried to put him against the Wyatts, then it didn't work, and then they put him against Dean, and then they put him right back into the title mix, and then they had the Goldberg program, which kind of saved them in my eyes. Mm-hmm. And with Roman, it was kind of like, it's start and stop with Roman. And I wonder if it doesn't happen the way that they want it to after this year, will they do this another year? And that's what I'm really concerned about.
But I don't know if that's the case because I think they've already established a guy. I think Roman Reigns is already established as a guy, and he's just a guy to sort of win the WWE Championship. I mean, I think once he wins it, I think people will just kind of accept it. And I think they're more accepting to it, in 2018 as they were in 2015. You talk about the jarring build to that WrestleMania. He at Fastlane, he went up against Daniel Bryan, and it was more of rubbing your nose in this food and just being like, yo, to eat it, they're saying like, listen, this is the guy, and we're literally showing you and we're proving it to you, and they're literally showing in your face like, yo, this is the guy. They're pushing it in your face. With Roman Reigns defeating Daniel Bryan to even get to that WrestleMania spot, you switch over to Elimination Chamber that we had earlier this year. Roman Reigns has a hell of a battle, and he has to go up against Braun Strowman, one of the most unstoppable guys in the company. Also, allegedly one of the next big things that are coming up right now, and he has an amazing showing. The man outlasts 7 other guys in the biggest elimination chamber of all time, and he wins the match, and he earns his way to WrestleMania, and that's an earned one that people actually respected.
They respected it because, again, they had no other, that was the story. It was predictable. Like, it was earned because they wanted it to look as though it was earned. Because you had Braun, even in that match, I didn't like the booking of that match. I thought the booking of that match was atrocious.
But people accepted, you had the John Cena story as well, but people accepted Roman Reigns in this match. People accepted that he win. There wasn't a major backlash. There wasn't booing like there was at that, Royal Rumble. They accepted Roman Reigns is going to this main event, and there hasn't been much of any resistance, to me at least, since leading up to it.
He still gets booed, and I think even in the matches leading up to, not the matches, but even in the segments leading up to this, he, like, Brock beating him up gets a cheer. No one's really booing Brock. Like, let's be clear. Like, no one's. Oh yeah. Like it if anything, it's mixed. I think.
But I don't think they're not booing Brock because they like Brock. I think they like the brutality of it all. You show amazing brutality in front of everybody, and we've seen that with Braun. You show amazing.
I'll go out on a limb with a really hot take that people might be more confused this year with who to cheer for and who to boo for than they were in 2015.
Oh yeah, 100%. I think that's definitely the case because I think both guys have had such amazing stock in this match. I think the kids are fully behind Roman Reigns. I think with Brock Lesnar, people love the brutality of it all. I don't know if people generally are fans of Brock Lesnar. I think everyone's ready to see him lose the championship, which may be another factor in why people are willing to accept Roman Reigns at this point. But yeah, I think you're on the money, and that people might have a harder time on who to cheer and who to boo.
So just one more thing. Who do you think comes out on top, and where do they go next with Roman and Brock? And I'll let you start.
I think Roman Reigns is undoubtedly the winner. I think Roman Reigns is I think they've been wanting to take the championship off of Brock Lesnar for a long time, and they've been building up to this moment. But as you've seen, since 2015, that was apparently the case, but it didn't really happen. But I think this is the year. I think this is the year that we do it. We decide who's the best, and I think you actually see a show of respect between Brock Lesnar and Roman Reigns after this match. And in terms of where Roman Reigns goes on from there, I think Roman Reigns goes on to sort of reestablishing a lot of the stars on the brand. And I think in the same way that sort of John Cena did it, where it was a lot of different guys, where he had matches against a lot of different guys like Chris Jericho and Christian and Triple H and all this other stuff, not sort of establishing, but like getting over, these Samoa Joes, the Finn Balor's, the Bray Wyatts, the Dean Ambroses, all these, the Miz's, all these other things, helping build the roster that he has been the leader of for the last year. I think Brock Lesnar disappears. I think Brock Lesnar rides off into the sunset, and I do think we see him again. But I don't know when.
I do think Roman will win this match. I think it's the full circle. It's full circle. 3 years. It's been 3 years. Just get it over with. It's the same with like Seth and Triple H. Get this shit over with. Just do the match.
Yes, please.
Get it over with. I do think Roman wins, and I do agree that I think it's time that we have this title on TV again, and I think it's time that we see the title on TV, and we see these people fighting for this title, and it becomes a focal point of the show again, and not like the secondary titles or the tag titles or whatever. Like I think that's very important that a show has a champion on it. I'd like to think that Roman goes to Bobby Lashley, or Brock goes to Bobby Lashley after if he's staying. But I do think that
there was rumors maybe an extension to August or something.
Yeah, I heard the same rumors, and I think we might get Brock and Bobby just as a swan song for Brock's story. But I really,
I'm not with putting over Bobby Lashley in 2018. I'll just be honest with you.
He's really good. Okay, he's
really good.
He's a lot better than he was.
I'd have to see, like, is this some, like, you giving him the Brock Lesnar push? You're giving him the push. These are guys where Samoa Joe, Braun Strowman, Finn Balor, AJ Styles have not gone over Brock Lesnar, but you let Bobby Lashley do it. I mean, I'm not against Bobby Lashley, but I'm just saying, like, I'd rather it go to someone who sort of earned it.
Right.
But I mean, that's a way. That's definitely an option. Someone had to give up the spear, though.
But think about, he's got a couple moves. Okay. But I think that it is time for us to see a Roman Finn feud, or a proper Roman Seth title feud where, maybe it could be flipped, or maybe someone could turn heel, or, something like that, where, we finally get that long, feud with those two.
Yeah.
It's just really time for new matchups.
Yeah, it's time for the era to really show themselves. I think everyone in this sort of era has been waiting in the wings because of these Brock Lesnar matches or things like that, and haven't had these main event matches at WrestleMania just because they've been waiting in the wings for this moment. And I think it's time to finally have it. We have a lot of guys. This is one of the best rosters in WWE history. Now, even with Daniel Bryan back, it's even fucking better. How did that happen? I don't know, but we build towards that.
It could happen. SummerSlam. Not SummerSlam, Survivor Series. Have that be like in a promotional match. There's a lot of really cool things coming out of WrestleMania on all sides. But again, as we said, this is the most intriguing story, and it's a story that has so many stakes as far as the main event picture in the WWE going forward. I'm super excited for Roman Reigns, Brock Lesnar 2, and I'm also super excited for our WrestleMania recap show this week on the A Show. It is dropping on Thursday as usual. We drop on Thursday.
Yes, we do. We drop on Thursdays. Yeah, we drop on Thursday.
I don't remember what day. Everything like blurs together up for me. But it's going to be a huge episode, Meelz. Are you ready to talk about the 14 match card?
No, but I'll be ready on Thursday. I'll be ready. I'll be ready. Once I see Raw and SmackDown and get that WrestleMania feel, even though everybody's going to be like, oh, we're not really doing much. I think we're going to get a very lax Raw and a very lax SmackDown heading into this Royal Rumble.
Well, luckily we're not. We're not going to be reviewing Raw and SmackDown this week.
Oh yeah. I know, but it gets me, amped for the show. Like you get that. I was talking on Twitter about the Styles and Nakamura. They're out there slapping beers out of each other's hands, and Limp Bizkit "My Way" comes on. It's like those type of moments that I would expect. But
yeah.
To get me amped for this show. But we've got a multitude of matchups. We've got a multitude of feuds. We have over 14 matches at this point, maybe over 14. Maybe that's the final number. Maybe that's the lucky number. But we have a ton of matches to go through. And listen, this is going to be great.
Can't wait. So thank you guys for listening to our very special episode of the A Show, a retrospective, if you will, of Roman Reigns versus Brock Lesnar. If you like these types of shows and you want us to do them more often, let us know on Twitter. You can follow me at OGJohnny5 and Meelz at MeelzTV. That is MEELZTV on Twitter. Leave us your feedback. Follow us on Twitter. Follow us on SoundCloud, and also subscribe to us on iTunes. You can also follow our Twitter at RNC Radio Live. We're dropping all the hottest playlists, and we're also letting you guys see all the playlists and podcasts from our network of RNC. So again, we will see you guys later this week. Thank you for watching with us. Thank you for watching along. It has been a journey, my friends, but the road to WrestleMania is almost at an end. We'll see you later.
Happy Rusev Day.